What is up, everybody? It's Mr. Christopher with Funkatopia. Welcome to Funkatopia Live. Let me just go ahead and just double check with you guys and make sure that everything is okay. I'm trying to see if we're having problems on Instagram or whatnot. I don't know if we are or not, but I tried to do it on Instagram tonight because primarily because of the fact that it was just me. Normally, when it's myself and Michael Bland. Um, there's two of us and we're like separated and Instagram can't handle it because there's more. I don't necessarily know what the issue is, but anyways, I hope that you folks on Instagram got a little piece, but kind of sucks. We'll do Instagram later. Okay, let's just start there. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Again, I'm Mr. Christopher. Let me just say, yeah, is Facebook not happening either? It's just we're trying to figure out exactly what all is going on here. So let me try to according to this, I'm supposed to be live on here. So let's double check and see what the issues are, and let's make sure that we are actually appearing on Facebook like we're supposed to be, and just take it from there. Oh my gosh, this is part of the issue of doing things. No, I'm live. I'm live on Facebook. I don't know why anybody may be having problems on Facebook. May have been something that, but I don't see anybody on Facebook in the chat room either. So there's may just be something temporary. And let me see if I can try to help resolve the. Okay, let me do this. Give me just a second. Let me alleviate Facebook, and then we'll come back in. Give me just a second. Hold on just a second. We're going to remove Facebook. All right. Could have been that little clip or whatever. So we're going to fix this problem. Let me apologize right out of the gate for those on YouTube and whatnot. We're going to here we go. All right. So we should be coming up on Facebook here in just a second. So we'll give the Facebook folks some time. So I'm going to apologize twice. So tonight we were supposed to have Cassandra O'Neill here tonight, and Michael Bland called me last night and essentially said that he was supposed to be doing a rehearsal, and that literally got moved to tonight. So I said, all right, I'll just do the show. Hey, how you doing? There's Cassandra right there. There she is. What's going on, Cassandra? So Michael Bland told me that he was not going to be able to make it. And so therefore Cassandra wanted to shift it to next week so that her and Michael can kind of geek out a little bit on all things NPG. We are going to be talking about NPG tonight. So, and apologies for those who were on Facebook. I played a little clip, and apparently that clip, it got blocked. So I got to kind of watch some of that stuff. I'll just it's okay. I try to share whenever I possibly can share, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. Anyways, so next week, we're going to have Cassandra and Michael all together in one location. And I'll just go ahead and put up the thing right now. So it's now next week, February 17th, Michael Bland and Cassandra O'Neill will be on the show, and we'll be doing lots and lots of fun stuff. Trust me, we got some really fun stuff. Cassandra, I've got some crazy stuff to share and ask you about. You're going to be like, how did you find out about that? So you'll see next week. So tonight I figured, there was a couple topics that I wanted to kind of go into a little bit. And I know somebody asked me, I'm trying to fix this here. Somebody asked me whether or not I actually had hair because I always wear these beanies. And yes, I do actually have hair. So just proof I do have hair. But it's just, I don't know. It's just one of these looks that I just can't. Let me refresh Facebook and just see what's going on. I got to refresh Facebook. No, we're still okay. Yeah, Facebook is okay. So I see somebody saying Facebook is not okay. Refresh the page, and you'll see the Facebook page. And so I'm actually seeing people in the chat room here. So listen, tonight we're going to have fun anyways. Regardless of what anybody says, we're going to have fun. And I got a lot to talk about. And what was actually beneficial is that there was a major topic that happened with new power generation, with the expiration of the agreement that they had with the, I'll just say, estate regarding the usage of the name. And not only that, but there also was some effects that happened in regards to their performance as well. So this is a couple of things that are going on that we're going to talk about, but I have some other things that I wanted to discuss before that. And I was concerned that was going to be such a big topic that I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to work it in with the interview and everything else, because it's a pretty big topic. So we're going to talk about it, though. We are going to talk about it. So again, if you're just joining us, the Cassandra O'Neill interview with Michael Bland and myself, just so you know, Michael Bland and myself are the co-hosts of Funkatopia Live. So Michael Bland is here every single week, except for tonight because he had a rehearsal schedule issue. So Cassandra opted to do next week so that she could hang out with Michael and all of us, and we could just have a good time. So that's what we're doing. So let's do this. Trying to figure out which topic you probably would want to talk about first. So I'm going to just kind of move into this as gracefully as I possibly can. I tell you, I've done this show for years by myself for such a long time. And then I've had a lot of co-hosts over the years. Nicky Tuzio, who unfortunately he passed away, not as he was a co-host, but Nicky Tuzio was part of the show as a co-host. Funkenberry has been on here a few times, and while we had some off discussions about making it a thing, we were just doing two separate types of shows, so it between our schedules too, it was just crazy. And then, of course, Rob Rhythm, who was a good high school friend of mine, he was also here on a regular basis. And then, of course, Jeff Page was on the show as a regular basis. And then Michael Bland joined on in 2025. But all during these little small windows, I did the show by myself. So it makes it really difficult to kind of shift gears into, hey, I need to take a drink, but I can't because I have to wait until somebody else talks. And if you're the only one talking, there is no breaks. And one of the things about Funkatopia Live is I do it live without a net. So there's that. The good thing about doing the show by myself, I don't have to wear headphones because I don't have to worry about hearing anything unless the guest pops in. If a guest pops in, then I have to switch to headphones. So it's okay. That's a very, very small adjustment. However, I hope you guys have been enjoying the reels. As you guys know, for 20 years, I have done the show, and the shows are always excessively long, 2 hours, 3 hour long shows. We'll get guests in here and we'll be talking forever. And never really mastered the whole making reels thing where I can create short little snippets and stuff to put out there for you guys to be able to appropriately consume. I know that's a really difficult thing. So my apologies for waiting so long, but now I've started to just unleash a wave of reels. I mean, I've put out reels for Jill Jones and Fred Wesley and Mono Neon and Jesse Johnson and Bootsy Collins. And it's just, you have seen them now in constant rotation, and I've been kind of doing them pretty heavily. And it definitely has helped with the channel growth. It definitely has helped with, getting new people to discover the channel. So I appreciate that. And of course, a lot of people were like, who's this Funkatopia? What's this Funkatopia site, man? They're like interviewing everybody. How are they interviewing everybody? I have interviewed a lot of people over the last 20 years, a lot of people. So the clips that you have seen is not even, I would say, scratching the surface, but it doesn't even scratch the surface. It's like a scratch on the scratch of the surface. So you're going to have tons more reels that are going to be coming. So get ready, because there is a lot of stuff coming, and I hope you guys are enjoying that. And so just know there's more coming. There's more coming. So let's get into it. again, for those of you who are just joining us, Michael Bland is out tonight because he has rehearsal, and Cassandra O'Neill will be shifted into next Tuesday, February 17th, as I just showed that graphic. And it will be, all of us will be back in here, and we will have a good time just cutting it up with Cassandra, talking about obviously her time with Prince and her time with Pink and her time with Macy Gray and her time with Yolanda Adams. We're going to be talking about all that because she has quite a she has a huge history. And one of the things that Michael Bland and I do, because of the fact that we're such music geeks, is that we really dig into an artist and just kind of get a little bit of an idea of who they are and where they came from and the different things that they can offer. But anyways, I just want to be able to say thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And I also want to make sure that I turned off my phone so that it doesn't ring during this evening's broadcast. All right, listen. Any new Prince gossip? Yeah, we'll talk. It's not really Prince gossip. We do rumor and conjecture here. If I hear something and it comes from a very reliable source, I will share it with you. And we do have some purple news to share, so stick with us. We're going to be doing some things here, but I want to work into this again, getting into this solo mode again. I hope you guys are planning a amazing and romantic Valentine's Day for those of you who have significant others. Got a lot of cool things that I've seen out there, but nothing quite as funny as most of you know, I'm here in Georgia, outside of Atlanta. And we have a little town here called Dunwoody that is kind of northeast Atlanta, kind of. And they've decided to have a little bit of a different approach for Valentine's Day. Let me know what you guys think about this. They posted this on Facebook. It basically says, admit one, Valentine's Day. Is your ex involved in illegal activities, or do they have a warrant? Call us today with their information and they can win a ride in a government vehicle, a photo shoot from different angles, and a stay, food included, DeKalb County Jail. So Fulton County, actually, this is actually outside of Dunwoody. This is actually Fulton County, DeKalb County, actually. But Dunwoody City put this out. So if you live in DeKalb County, and I'm pretty sure that all of the police departments across the continental United States would probably sign on to this approach. If you are having a very bad Valentine's Day and you have an ex that has a warrant, and you know where they are, hey, maybe cash in on a reward and treat yourself to something nice. Anyways, so there you go. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. John says, love your show. So that's one plan of something that you can do. And speaking of Valentine's Day, if you happen to be up in Hennepin County, which is up in Minneapolis, I didn't know if I knew this or not, but back in November, the libraries up there issued a Prince library card for the Hennepin County libraries. And apparently there are still some of these inside these libraries. So if you go to a library and you ask for a Prince library card, they may still have some hidden or have some in a stock, or maybe that, just a wave of them. But apparently these cards still exist. So if you happen to be up in Hennepin County, grab one of these Prince library cards. And I would love to get one of these. If somebody has one, maybe we could barter. We could, I got tons of really cool things. Maybe we could kind of switch things out. I still, to this day, I don't know if you guys have actually gotten, I still have these commemorative IMAX Prince Sign of the Times cards from IMAX. I don't know if you have seen these commemorative tickets, but these tickets still exist for when Prince Sign of the Times movie was broadcast on IMAX back in, or when was that? That was August. Was that August of last year? I guess it was. And you can get these, Funkatopia.com/shop, Funkatopia.com/shop. You can grab a couple of these. All you got to do is just pay for the envelope and stamp, and of course the shipping and handling. So it's basically $5 is all it costs. It's no shipping on top of that. It's just $5 for me to stick 2 of these in an envelope to you and send them to you. Funkatopia.com/shop. There's still some available. You can grab some of those. But again, if you happen to have one of those library cards, or you see some of these library cards, please let me know. Let me just say, what's used says here, I still have my VHS of Purple Rain concert live. Yeah, man, that's nice. Yeah, the live Purple Rain concert was one of the first VHS tapes that I had gotten of Prince, and I still have it. I think it's in a box down in the basement because I didn't have any VHS. And of course, when we got the reissue, that was fantastic. Loved it. Had a great time. For those that Christina still has a Prince library card, that's awesome. And let me just go. This is a a public service announcement. Okay. I know we just talked about the fact that the police departments up here have this really funny Valentine's Day thing where they get you to snitch on an ex and give their location if they have a warrant for their arrest or whatever. But I may be arrested if I get caught behind one more person at a traffic light. We're going to get the purple news. I'm just kind of on a little bit of a roll here, just kind of having a little venting session here. But a lot of people aren't familiar with how traffic lights work. And I learned this back in the 90s, actually, because I was taking a microcomputer specialist course in college. And the guy that was working, or that was the teacher of that class, used to work for the Department of Transportation. And somehow or other, we got into the discussion of traffic lights. And somebody says, oh, those lasers, the lasers or whatever on the traffic lights, they don't ever change when they're supposed to. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And he corrected us, and he told us there are no lasers or cameras or anything that are on the traffic lights. If you're wondering how those traffic lights work, I'm about to show you a picture, and somebody in here is going to learn something. And I hope that you take this information and you spread it, because if I get behind somebody who is not aware of how these traffic lights work, I'm going to lose it. So let me show this to you. Okay. You see this picture? This is at an intersection. You see those lines in the road right there? Those lines that are in the road right before the traffic light, if you happen to be in front, are magnets. If you don't pull far enough forward, the light won't change. It will wait. It has a normal cycle, but if it knows that a car is waiting at the light, it will speed up the process of the light. Those lines are magnets. When your car drives over those lines, the magnet touches. It is attracted to the metal on your car, and it touches, and that sends a signal to the light to change. There is no laser on the light. There's no cameras on the light. It's a magnet. It's in the road. Every single traffic light that you go to, you're going to see this in the road right before that white line before the light. So please, I beg you, pull forward to that line and set off that magnet to set off the light so that we all can go, whether it be home, whether it be to work, whether it be we're late for an appointment. Please, the love of God, pull forward and set off that magnet. And if you see somebody that's pulled forward on top of the magnet, but the light's still not changing, and you still see a little bit of that magnet behind you, pull a little bit closer and add some. That's my public service announcement for the day. I'm hoping that there's somebody out there who did not know that there are magnets in the road. So just for your own use. Okay. Let's shift into music, shall we? We're going to shift into music, and then we're going to shift into the purple news that you guys want to discuss. And I haven't decided if I'm going to open up the phone lines or not, but we'll take it from there. Let's start off with some music that's really kind of non-funk, all right? But I'll be surprised if anybody knows who this is. But for those who have been a fan for a really long time, that, my friend, is the Beach Boys. It is an old picture of the Beach Boys. And in 1977, this is actually pretty exciting news if you kind of like that era of 60s and 70s music, especially the 70s Beach Boys music. Oh man, the 70s music with the Beatles and the Beach Boys and Steve Miller Band and Pink Floyd. And oh my gosh, that stuff was just phenomenal. But the Beach Boys, at one point in time, had okay, everybody knows that Brian Wilson was one of the main songwriter for the Beach Boys. He left the Beach Boys for a long time. And then in 1976, Brian Wilson came back and he returned to the Beach Boys. It's pretty significant prolonged period of absence. Now he just passed away recently. It wasn't just like end of last year. Somebody can tell me. I don't know. I don't need to know exact time, but I think it was late last year. But he basically left the band from 1964 until 1976. And when he returned, they obviously released the album in 1977 called The Beach Boys Love You. And they also had a really unusual, strange, experimental record called Adult/Child. And for whatever reason, maybe because it was too weird or it was just, Brian was in his little strange mode. Prince went into a lot of those modes where he would kind of do something that was really artistically way, way, way off base, like way off in left field. This was that album for the Beach Boys, which was called Adult/Child. But good news if you are a Beach Boys fan or closet Beach Boys fan, because they're going to be releasing an album, a box set called We Gotta Groove, The Brother Studio Years. And it is a box set that was recorded after Brian Wilson returned to the Beach Boys in 1977. And the whole set is kind of built around a remastered version of that album, The Beach Boys Love You, but it also includes the first ever commercial release of tracks from that Adult/Child sessions, along with assorted outtakes and alternate versions. So if you are a huge fan of the Beach Boys and you happen to be a closet Beach Boys fan, man, they got a really, really cool album that's going to be coming out soon, a box set that's going to have brand new material, weird stuff apparently, that I'm kind of interested to hear, because I was a late comer to Beach Boys. I knew all the poppy, beachy type hits that they had on the radio, but it wasn't until probably about 5 years ago that I actually sat down with the album Pet Sounds that everybody raved about. And I was like, oh, this was pretty friggin' awesome. This is really, really good. So I started digging a little bit into their library a little bit more and their discography. And I really like a lot of the stuff that was not on the radio. And that completely parallels with Prince, because Prince is the exact same way. Prince is one of those artists where you have the songs that are on the radio, but if you really start to dig into his discography, you're going to find out that, man, it's going to be pretty amazing. Anyways, Beach Boys, if you're a Beach Boys fan, another album that's coming out. We actually know when this is coming out, and that is Bruno Mars's album, The Romantic, is going to drop on February 27th. February 27th, Bruno Mars's new album is coming out. However, they are doing a listening session on February 25th in record stores all across the country. So if you're a big Bruno Mars fan, head to recordstoreday.com/Bruno Mars listening parties. I know it's a long one. Recordstoreday.com, which is where you're going to get all the RSD information anyway. It's recordstoreday.com/Bruno Mars listening parties. And you can find out which record stores around you are going to be doing that exclusive listening session 2 days before the album comes out. If you're going to be okay, you'll be like, I'll be all right. Then you just got to wait a couple of days to Friday and you'll get it, because February 25th is a Wednesday. So if you don't have time off work or you can't get to wherever the record stores are, there's that. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's interesting too. It's a band called Dope. You want to know what that is? That is the drummer for The Doors, John Densmore, collaborating with Chuck D from Public Enemy. So it's D-O for Doors and P-E for Public Enemies. You see that the D-O has the font stylings of The Doors, and P-E has the Public Enemy stylings for Public Enemy. Yes, it is the drummer for The Doors, John Densmore, and Chuck D from Public Enemy that are joining forces. So apparently the story is with this. Back in 2014, when Chuck D was the official ambassador for Record Store Day. This year, Bruno Mars is the ambassador for Record Store Day, but apparently in 2014, so 12 years ago, Chuck D got an opportunity to meet John Densmore, again, the drummer for The Doors, on a Record Store Day panel. And then about a year later, Chuck reached out to John and said, hey, You've got the beats, I've got the rhymes. Let's make dope. And he explained what dope was. And again, the name is a collab of Doors and Public Enemy. And so here it is. I have no idea. Obviously, it's going to be Chuck D doing his normal, crazy type of very politically and heavy charged, socially aware commentary. And John Densmore's, I mean, he's legendary. I mean, think about the nuance that John would add to this, because you think about the Doors music and how trippy it was and how rooted in rock that it was. And so this is going to be an interesting project. The band's called Dope. The album is going to be called No Country for Old Men, and that is coming out. I believe it's coming out on Record Store Day. Yes, Record Store Day, April 18th. So let's talk about Record Store Day. Let's go ahead and shift into the purple news here and the Prince news that you guys want to hear. I'll go ahead and say this one more time for those who came in late. Tonight, it's a little bit awkward because I'm back in solo mode, which I haven't done in a very, very long time. I haven't done really in the past year, but I'm in solo mode tonight because Michael Bland got called into a last minute rehearsal. And so as a result, Cassandra O'Neill shifted her appearance on the show to next week, the 17th. So please join next Tuesday if you're here for Cassandra O'Neill, or if you're a Michael Bland fan, who is a regular co-host here on Funkatopia Live. Funkatopia Live happens every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself and Michael Bland. It's called Funkatopia Live, and that's the normal setup for the show. But tonight I'm doing it by myself because we had to shift that stuff, but it's okay. I've got it covered. We got a lot to talk about. So get comfortable. If you have any questions, I will try my best I'm doing a lot of different shifting here. I'm clicking on things and putting up images and trying to give you all the information as smoothly as I possibly can. So if I don't see your question right off the bat, give me a little opportunity to kind of take a minute. I do actually have a little snippet, like a 1.5-minute snippet video that will kind of be my break so that I can kind of review the chat room and see any questions that I may have missed. But here we go. Let's talk about Record Store Day. The biggest thing that I see that people are going to have issue with, and this has already come up a couple of times in the past to broadcast, was there is no release from the estate on Record Store Day. And the other part of that is that this year, unfortunately, Record Store Day falls on April 18th, which is 3 days before Prince's passing. So it's a pretty significant Record Store Day, not only because it's Record Store Day, but because of the fact that it's the 10-year anniversary of Prince's passing just 3 days after that. So it would have been a pretty significant opportunity to be able to drop something to help celebrate the 10-year anniversary, like a little surprise, something out of the blue. And one of the things that did pop up, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, it did pop up because we saw it show up on the HHV site over in Berlin, that there was going to be a double album for this show right here, Prince and the New Power Generation, Act 2. That's from Paris, and it was August 1st, was it? I want to say it's August 1st. It may be April, but it's August 1st, August 2nd, August 3rd, or April 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I don't have my notes in front of me, but they were going to be doing a double album release of this show from Paris. And apparently something happened with the test pressing and it didn't work out, but the Record Store Day list got released and there was nothing on it for Prince. So obviously the Prince community lost their mind, because that's a pretty big deal to have Record Store Day 3 days before the 10-year anniversary of his passing, and we've got nothing. So I'll just, I'm trying not to go down rabbit holes with you guys because, you know, everybody knows how I feel, and I try to kind of maintain a stance of political correctness because of the fact that as you can see by the scroll, Funkatopia Live, and that includes myself as well. I am not endorsed by Prince. I am not endorsed by Paisley Park. I am not endorsed by the Prince estate. We have nothing to do with them other than reporting and kind of being a little bit of your soundboard. And yes, they know who we are. Matter of fact, Charles Spicer was in this chat room just last week. So let me just say that on behalf of all of you, I know that you guys are frustrated with the lack of releases. You guys did get Hit and Run Phase 1 and Phase 2, a re-release of that on vinyl. And that, thank you to the state. Thank you for that. That was great. There were some people who actually did request that. Matter of fact, at the last celebration, Londell straight out said, you guys want Hit and Run Phase 1 and Phase 2? That is in the works. And he stayed true to his word. We have it. It's there. So thank you for that. It was not a remastered version. We didn't need a remastered version because that album came out in 2014, right? So that was already going to be at the highest audio quality as it was. So it was not necessary to have any remastering of that album. That in itself is a little, I don't know. Anyways, look, well, I see a couple of people in chat room. Thank you. I appreciate it. Chamber, I love hearing talk about music. Thank you. I appreciate that. Joni says, wait just a sec. P did endorse you though. Yes. Prince knew who I was as well. Matter of fact, I have plenty of screen captures from Facebook posts and Twitter posts of him talking about Funkatopia. He knew who we were. He knew about the radio station. He supported me on a regular basis. He sent me lots of interviews with a lot of acts that he was working with, whether it be Liv Warfield or Andy Allo or Shelby J, or he was always sending stuff to me. He would send me advance copies of like Larry Graham's album. And so yes, but I wasn't the only one, and that's not really an endorsement. And I'm not here in any official capacity representing Prince or the estate or Paisley Park. That's where it stands right now because he's no longer with us. So that's where we're standing right now. So let me get back on track. So I think we're kind of in a little bit of a place where I appreciate the fact that they released Hit and Run Phase 1 and Phase 2, but I think that there needs to be some delegation. I don't know who's responsible for the releases, who's in charge of some of the timing of that. But I think it was pretty important. It was a pretty important note that not only was it the anniversary of like significant anniversaries of albums this year, not only that, but also that this year was the 10-year anniversary of his passing. So this year, I think there was assumption, false or not, we're not at the end of it or not, but there was going to be a lot coming this year just because this is a big friggin' year. This was a really, really big year. I got to find the screen capture that I had showing all the anniversaries of certain albums, like 20-year anniversaries of this album and 15-year anniversary of that album. And, there's just so much that's going on. And on top of that, the 10-year anniversary of his final performance at the Fox Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's coming up too. That's coming up quick. That's coming up really soon. So you have these really significant historical moments. And I know that one of the things that Lundell said at it was one of the first things that he commented towards me, because I brought it up and I had created this graphic about all the anniversaries that were happening in 2026. And he made sure to lock eye contact with me and was very, very clear that we cannot celebrate every single anniversary that is coming up with Prince, because it's Prince. He's got tons and tons of things that have anniversaries. I get that. But the other part of that is, again, this is a significant year. Okay. If you don't want to you don't want to honor the anniversaries of these certain albums that you can build up on, Parade being one of them, it's very important that somehow you make some type of release honoring the 10-year anniversary of his passing and honoring the 10-year anniversary of the final concerts that he would ever perform. Whether or not you actually have a decent audio recording of the Atlanta show, that remains to be seen. But I do know the one that they did at Paisley Park in January, which is not his final concert, but that's fine. It's a representation of his final tour. And it was professionally recorded, video, audio, everything. It doesn't matter. The problem is that you've got all these bootleggers that are out there that are already taking advantage of some of this stuff. Matter of fact, that's one of them. That was one that was sent to me from, that's the 10-year anniversary. Wasn't depicting the 10 years end because this actually came out at the beginning of last year or the end. I can't even remember. So I think there's still expectations, and you know what? I get it. There's still time. There's still time to do things. I understand. And so we're going to just have to take a breather and just say, you just have to take a breather, and we just have to just accept that this is the way things are. There are so many working parts and so many moving pieces that are going on in the background that we are not aware of. For instance, when everybody saw that there was going to be a release for this concert here, everybody was losing their mind. Well, why isn't it on the record store? Maybe it's only going to be released over on Journey. Maybe it's a bootleg, blah, 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 blah. We come to find out that if we had known all the inner workings, that we had known that what was going on was that the vinyl test pressings failed. For those who don't know, and again, I tried to talk down a little bit just because I know that there's some people out there. I found it really interesting when I listen to talk radio sometimes. I'll come into the middle of a conversation and maybe like I love football and I love a lot of different things, but sometimes there are really well-known details about a topic that I just don't know. And maybe I'm embarrassed to ask. So I try to over-explain things, but with vinyl pressings, what happens is they give the audio to the record company, and then they have to make what is called test pressings. And these test pressings go out in batches, and somebody has to review those test pressings for pops and making sure that the speed is correct and making sure the audio quality is where it's supposed to be. It's like a long, arduous process. And if anything fails, then that has to go back to the record company, and they have to press it all over again. And so this is kind of like the back and forth that kind of happens until they get a product that is acceptable, and then they lock it in. Apparently, whatever pressing happens, it didn't happen. So it kind of sucks, but that's the reality of it. So as it stands, Record Store Day, Prince fans, there's nothing really much for you. If you're a Bruno Mars fan, you got something coming out February 27th. So in just a couple of weeks from now, you're going to have a brand new Bruno Mars album. Also, if you are interested in that Chuck D project, Chuck D and John Densmore from The Doors and their project, their dope project, No Country for Old Men, that's coming out on Record Store Day. There's a lot of good releases on Record Store Day. Just a Prince release isn't one of them. So we have to take a look and say, all right, they've already done the save the date. It's a 10th year anniversary celebration of life. The Prince celebration happening June 3rd through the 7th of this year. Okay. And a lot of people are asking, has there been any announcement? Yes. Has there been any announcement of who's playing or what the schedule is? And typically, I'll go ahead and tell you, in the posthumous celebrations that have happened, they don't really reveal the schedule until like really close. I think last year was probably the first time that they released the schedule a good bit in advance. Not a good bit, but like a couple weeks in advance, I want to say. I don't remember exactly what the timing of it was. It was just surprising that it got released the way that it did, because the celebration before that, you didn't know the schedule until you got there and they was on your lanyard. That's when you knew. So this year, I mean, last year was a little bit different because you were able to plan. You were like, oh, well, the first day, June 3rd, let me just say this. And if this follows the course for the previous celebrations, I can probably help you a little bit as far as the schedule is concerned. Here's what I know. I will do a celebration special once they make additional announcements. But for right now, here's what I'll tell you about the celebration. June 3rd through the 7th indicates that you're looking at 5 days, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 days. Now, sometimes you look at a date and you do math in your head. Oh, 7 minus 3 is 4. But if you look at it as third, it's 5 days. Normally on that first day, the day part of that first day is normally for VIP. So if you're planning on attending but can't afford, because they'll normally do 2 levels. They'll do a general admission level and they'll do a VIP level. The VIPs normally get a lot of, they get to hear unreleased material. They get to have a little bit of access to just extra things like not just listening sessions, but meetings and it just gifts and all kinds of different things. And that normally happens the day part of the first day, which in this case would be June 3rd. And then on the evening of that first day, that June 3rd, is normally when they'll have the launch party, which has taken place at the W in previous years. And who knows where it's going to be. So what I can tell you is if you plan to attend as general admission and you're really trying to figure out ways to kind of cut costs, I feel pretty confident that they're going to stick to that same type of schedule, so that if you wanted to fly in on June 3rd, check into your hotel, maybe take a nap and get a little bit of rest and change clothes, take a shower, get rested up, maybe go have dinner and then hit the launch party. If you're coming as GA, that is an option for you. If you're planning to attend as a VIP, it's a little bit tighter of a schedule, but that's really the only thing I can share with you as far as a tip. Here's the other thing I will tell you. One of the things that I will say is that there's listing 3 locations this time, which is another unusual thing. It's showing downtown Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Chanhassen. Chanhassen is obviously where Paisley Park is. It may not be obvious to you. A lot of people who have never been to Paisley Park may not know it's in Chanhassen. Paisley Park is in a town called Chanhassen, which is basically southwest of Minneapolis, about 45 minutes, somewhere around there. And then, of course, in downtown Minneapolis, they've done the State Theater at one point. They've done a variety of different locations in downtown Minneapolis. They also do the block party that happens in downtown Minneapolis, right at the intersection where First Avenue is, actually kind of behind First Avenue, the parking deck where the big mural is. And then St. Paul is a new location. So there is a couple of different convention halls and some talk about some things that are happening in St. Paul. So it's happening in 3 different locations. And I can tell you, I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of groundwork here to kind of maybe set some proper expectations, and also to kind of say this period is going to be the window where, if they were going to do anything for the 10-year anniversary of Prince's passing, which for new fans is what Prince asked us to celebrate. Prince asked us he wanted people to celebrate the day that he died. That's the reason why he, quote unquote, didn't do birthdays, because he didn't want to count time and, kind of help keep him young, because he didn't have to think about how old he was, even though we wished him happy birthday all the time. And he celebrated birthdays all the way up until his 30s, until that change happened. This is what he asked us to celebrate. So it's a 10-year anniversary of his passing. There's nothing there. as it stands right now. So we don't know what the estate is planning for this 10-year anniversary. They could be dropping a bomb on us here on 10-year. And I'm talking about a good bomb, like giving us the release of an album. Who knows what's going to be happening in this window. So there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity here. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And let's just say, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something really, really cool is going to be happening here. Let's just keep it cool. I will be here at the celebration. So if you do see me here, please make sure you say hello. So, I can give you a quick hug and say hello. But this is going to be an opportunity for the estate to really kind of make good on whatever we may have some expectations in the back of our head. Listen, they're never going to meet your expectations of what you're going to want. I'll just go ahead and say that right now, because we are insatiable. That's the way we are as Prince fans. There's no way around that. I can't speak to that. I can only speak to it for myself. I know what I expected, and that's because of the fact, again, with the release, with the 10-year anniversary of his passing, the 10-year anniversary of the his final concerts, my expectation, at minimum, my expectation was an official release of the Prince piano, a live recording of the Prince Piano and a Microphone tour, regardless of how they got it into our hands. I thought this has got to be when it's going to happen. Your expectation may be something else. I know a lot of people have a lot of expectation about that Parade box set. The Parade box set is a big thing. The Parade box set is massive. It's, as far as I know, the Parade box set is still happening. I heard, I heard the rumblings, just like you have. I heard the rumblings that it may not happen, that they're having issues. And now the Parade issue is, and now the Parade release is going to be just like we just had with Around the World in a Day, where it's not really a whole bunch to it. It's just a remastering of it, and it will be remastering of the album. And then along with that will be the dance mixes and stuff that you would expect, like Mountains and Kiss and all that stuff. And that's the other alternative that I heard. So just know if that is what it is, you're going to have to be happy with it. And when I heard that rumor, just so we're clear, when I heard that rumor about Parade, that it may just be just like Around the World in a Day, where it's just the remastering of the album, and then another album that has like dance mixes and singles or whatever, I was very disheartened. But then I looked to see, well, we didn't get any unreleased stuff, so what's left? And granted, there is still a bunch of things that are inside of the vault that we don't know. There's a bunch of songs that we've never heard and that we don't even know exist. But I can tell you, as an avid collector of anything that I can find from wherever I can get it, just like a lot of you guys are, we're rabid fans, that's what we do, is that what becomes problematic is that because of the box sets that already came out, the Purple Rain box sets that came out, the what was the other box set that came out? I have them all here. The problem is that the box sets that they did, the super deluxes that they've already done for Purple Rain and also for Sign of the Times, already pretty much had a majority of those unreleased tracks on them already. It was already there. So there wasn't really, looking at it, backing up and looking at it, there really weren't a whole bunch of unreleased tracks to speak of that could have been put on the box set for Parade. So the other thought of this too, well, I thought they were going to do the movie with the box set. We don't know what it was, and we still don't know what it is. Right. Thank you. So we had Sign of the Times, 1999, and Diamonds and Pearls. Thank you, Chad. And between those three box sets, there were 100 unreleased songs that were put on those albums to quell your thirst. Speaking of which, to quell your thirst, we had a bunch. There was a lot. And of course, here we are as Prince fans. We're like, it's not enough. It's not enough. More. I get it. And I'm with you. I do want more. We also have to be realistic about what's in there now and what's available. So let's just see. You know what? Thank you. Christopher Hendricks makes a good point. Half of what would have been on Dream Factory and the Flesh is what you meant. The Flesh sessions have yet to be released. The Flesh stuff was actually Eric Leeds doing his thing. And Eric actually was on the show and talking about that quite a bit. But I would love to see a Dream Factory release. Do a Dream Factory release. Even though we already have all of those songs, I was actually able to locate a majority of the original tracks as they were intended for Dream Factory with the segues in place. And I put them together and I actually broadcast them because there wasn't anything wrong with that because they were officially released songs, but they were just a little slightly different versions of them. So I just paid the licensing for the actual songs. So it ended up being the exact same thing, but it just had different segues to them. And it tied all the songs together in this, and the way that those songs were structured, the last known configuration of Dream Factory was unfriggin' real. You have to hear it not only in the succession, in the last original configuration that Prince put together for Dream Factory, but also specifically the versions that were on Dream Factory with those segues, because the way that stuff was tied together was just unreal. Yes, Chad, good point too. Yeah, and Andrew actually mentioned it first. Don't forget, you said Coming to America. I mean, Welcome to America. Welcome to America was phenomenal too. That box set was ridiculous. We got an album that we had never heard before, and the amount of goodies that were inside of that box set was just unbelievable. And I've got every single one of them. Matter of fact, I got them in that little gray case that you see down there is all of those box sets. Not all of them, because some of them are back behind me here as well. And of course, we also had the box set for Prince of the Revolution Live. We had that too. Yeah, we're spoiled. We are spoiled for real. We are so spoiled for real. So I get it, but they've given us so much. They really have given us so much. And we just have to make sure that we properly set our expectations, because we really honestly don't know what's coming. And to make mention of this, I wanted to talk about this for a second, was that April 21st, which is coming up here soon. We're February 10th. We are 2 months, basically 2 months and 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks away from the 10-year anniversary of his passing. And that's the other thing, is that I kind of feel like it's mind-boggling to me that the estate hasn't announced any type of special event or special anything going on for that day. I'm not saying there's still plenty of time to do it. There's 2 months and 2 weeks, but we need something. Something needs to be announced. Something needs to be mentioned. I mean, we know something's going to be mentioned. We get that. That's an easy task. We all can do that. But something needs to happen on that day. I don't know what your plans are, but drop whatever you're friggin' doing and I'm talking to the estate now. Drop what you're doing and please make something happen on that day, because it's so important. And to let that day go by and the only thing that is representative from the estate is a post on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram is not enough. It's not enough. I don't know what you're planning on doing, but if that's all that your plan is, if your only plan is to just do that, it's not enough. I'm telling you, that is not a. I'm not threatening you or anything like that. I'm just saying Prince fans are going to lose their ever-loving mind if the only thing that happens on that day is a post. So I don't know what your plans are, but plan something, Mo. Let's just start there. I don't know what it's got to be. I don't know what it's got to be, but it's got to be Mo. That's all I'll say. I don't know what. It's got to be more. And then, of course, before we even get there, we are 2 months away, literally 2 months to the day, I think. Maybe a few days off, of the final concerts in Atlanta. His final 2 performances that he would ever perform on this earth. Yes, he made a real quick, brief appearance at Paisley Park like a week later or whatever, but a full-blown concert performance, the last 2 performances, are 2 months away from right now. So what's happening there? Because if you're looking at the recordings that he did for Paisley Park, that happened back in January. That date's come and gone. So I don't know. I don't know what the plans are, but you need to have a meeting and sit down and figure out what's going to happen. Something's got to happen. I have some ideas, but but you don't give a shit what I got to say. So it's all good. But I can tell you what is going to be happening on April 20th, though, the day before. And that is my brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Bland, is going to be playing with his band, Urban Classic. And you probably won't want to miss that. It's called Revelation, celebrating the life and legacy of Prince. Trust me, I know what some of you hardcore Prince fans are thinking regarding this latest NPG news and what they can perform and what they can't say and blah, 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 blah. And does this apply to this? I'll talk about that a little bit later. For right now, just kind of go with it. Urban Classic presents Revelation. It's going to be at the Dakota in Minneapolis on April 20th, which is the night before his passing. 2 shows, 6:30 and 8:30. If you want tickets, it's dakotacooks.com. DAKOTA Cooks, COOKS.com. dakotacooks.com. You're going to have Michael Bland sitting there on drums. You got Tommy Barbarella on keys. Ash Mash is going to be there. G Sharp from Maserati and Dr. Mambo's Combo is going to be there. JB from The Routine and West Side is going to be there. Corey Eishin is going to be there. Odell from Mint Condition and the St. Paul and the Minneapolis Funk All-Stars is going to be there. Ron Long from Dr. Mambo's Combo and Chaka Khan, and was also in Purple Experience too, the Prince tribute band as well, and Bobby G from Earth, Wind and Fire, Jesse Johnson's Review, and the time. This is a show, and special guest Liv Warfield is going to be there as well. Liv Warfield is going to be there, and they're going to be just celebrating the life and legacy of Prince. It's not going to be all Prince because of the rules and regulations and everything. And on top of that, Michael already saw this coming a long time ago. He already saw that this was going to be a thing. And he said, we keep on going in here and we're doing like these all Prince shows. He goes, I want to mix it up because it's be awesome to be able to go out there and play music from, do different types of shows where you're playing music from Maserati, and you're playing music from The Family, and you're playing music from The Time, and you're playing music from, all the different aspects. And so he already knew this was coming, and this show is going to be phenomenal. And yes, I will be there. I will be at both shows at 6:30 and 8:30. I will be there. So again, if you're going to be up in Minneapolis, April 20th, please make sure that you come to Dakota and hang out. If you can't make it to the Dakota, that's fine too, because after that show, again, we have a 6:30 show and an 8:30 show. After that show, on the 21st, 12:01 a.m. So after the show, I'm getting in my car. I'm going over to Chanhassen, going to Riley Creek at night, 12:01. That's a Monday, unfortunately, but Monday going into Tuesday. So 12:01 a.m. on the 21st, which is that Tuesday that he passed away. We're going to be having a candlelight ceremony here at Riley Creek, not right here where this sign is at. We actually go to the other side. Trying to think where that, no, that's where the fence is. Actually, this would be where it would be. We're going to have a candlelight ceremony here at Riley Creek. And I've done it. I did it on the 5-year anniversary, and I'm doing it again. And it was amazing. We had so many people there at Riley Creek with candles. It was unbelievable. So much love. And we had purple candles, and everybody had the Funked Up app going. So we were playing music. And so it was like everybody had their own little personal soundtrack, because I set up the radio station to play a bunch of music, really specific music during that window of time. And so everybody was able to walk around no matter where they were. You carried your speaker with you, and it was great because there wasn't any delay. Everybody's music was coming out at the same time. It was great. It was beautiful. We're going to be doing it again on April 21st at 12:01 a.m. Chris, why in the world would you do that? Why wouldn't you just do it at a normal friggin' time on the night of the 21st? Because a couple things. First off, there were some things going on in that town when we were trying to schedule something, but we kept running into roadblocks. I can't go into too much detail, but a lot of the major venues like First Avenue and places like that were already on hold. They were being held for something. There were all these events that were being held, all these venues that were being held on that date, which was unusual because this is last year that we're looking. Because I knew that April 21st was going to fall on a Tuesday, which is normally when we do Funkatopia Live. And what's unusual is that all these venues were mysteriously booked up on this night. So something is brewing for that night. We don't know who's behind it, whether it's the estate or whether it's somebody else in the purple community that had the foresight to make plans and know this is what's happening. Something is happening on the 21st. Whatever it is, it's going to be good. It's going to be big. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I definitely want to participate in whatever it is. So I'm going to go to whatever it is that's going to be planned. So that's what we're doing. On the 20th, we're going to be at the Dakota with Michael's band, with Liv Warfield, and we're going to be having a good time for those 2 shows. I will be there. I'll be emceeing, might be spinning, might do some DJ stuff. You never know. Who knows? We're playing everything by ear. And then after that second show, we're going to get into the car, going to go down to Chanhassen, down to Riley Creek at 12:01 a.m. And we're going to have an event at Riley Creek, a candlelight ceremony to celebrate the 10-year anniversary the best way we know how. And then, of course, whatever event happens on the night of the 21st, we'll participate in that too. So hopefully you guys are going to be up in that area. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot to do. So I'll probably fly in probably the 19th, I guess, kind of hang out, do my thing. I might wait to fly into the 20th. I don't know. I just got to be strategic about how I'm going to do all this. Trying not to use up too much vacation time, but still be there for all y'all. So there's that. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed. We're going to let's shift for a second, just for a moment, because I want to kind of speak to this a little bit regarding the halftime show and everything that's kind of going on up there in Minneapolis as well. Prayers up for everybody that's up there. I know you guys are going through it with all the ice debacle and the ridiculousness. So it was great to see Bad Bunny out there kind of, speaking up for everybody, and all the ice out pins that people were wearing. It was good to see all that. I don't like to get political. I try to stay out of all that stuff. But I know that the performance with Bad Bunny at halftime was a major political firestorm of sorts. It was kind of interesting too, to be totally honest. to kind of see how everything was kind of going haywire, because everybody had something to say about the Bad Bunny performance at halftime. It was, in my opinion, I know everybody, I guess if you're like, there's a lot of people that are way left and there's a lot of people that are way right. The people that are way left were excited about this because it's like kind of like they were kind of looking at this as like a slap in the face of the government with all the stuff that's going on with ICE and everybody, all the legal aliens being deported and all the stuff that's going on. It was a big slap in the face. And with the right wing, they were just like, this is a travesty. This is ridiculous. I can't believe it. This is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. That I can't even, they're doing it. Even to the point where they were so upset that they even set up an alternate halftime show so that if you were an American and you didn't want to participate in having to watch this, you can go to this other place and watch Kid Rock and do his thing and blah, 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 blah. And it's just friggin' ridiculous. Here's what I'll say. And this is all that I'm going to say about it. It was just, I thought the show was great. Listen, I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan. I'm not really into his music. I couldn't tell you anything. And I don't speak Spanish fluently. I don't even speak English very well. I don't speak Spanish fluently. So I was able to make out like every other word and kind of piece it together. So, and because I'm good at, I know a lot of Spanish words, but it's just the dialogue. And when it's quick, rapid fire, it's a little bit more difficult, but I was able to get the gist of every of both, the songs that he did. It was good to see Lady Gaga in the mix. It was good to see Ricky Martin in the mix, and Jessica Alba was also there too. She was standing on the porch of that makeshift house that they had set up there. There was some other people that were in that mix too. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was great. I thought it had a lot of scenery. He made a lot of statements about like the power grid, and he made a lot of statements in there about that were really culturally relevant statements. I didn't have any problems with the show. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the performance. I didn't have an issue with it. But of course, after the show was over, everything just kind of went haywire. Matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you who sent this to me, but somebody in my family sent this to me. Literally, before the game was even over, someone said, "See, I told you this is going to be a problem." And they sent this to me from this site called Unilad, where it says Super Bowl halftime show branded worst of this century, as viewers all have that same complaint, obviously because they didn't speak Spanish or whatever. But what's funny is that you would see the exact opposite somewhere else. For instance, there was a rumor that was going around saying, "Oh, well, that's kind of weird. That's the case because Rolling Stone just said it was number 2 as the greatest halftime show of all time. And Prince was number 1. And I was like, they really say that? So I happened to find it. Unfortunately, it's not on the Rolling Stone site, rollingstone.com. They posted it on their Twitter account. Here's their Twitter account. It kind of shows you who was on that list. So they started out the list. Number 10 was Lady Gaga in 2017. Number 9 was Madonna in 2012. Number 8 was Rihanna from 2023. Number 7 was Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band in 2009. Number 6 was Shakira and J-Lo, which was a great watch. Number 5 was Aerosmith, Britney Spears, NSYNC, Nelly, and Mary J. Blige from 2001. Yeah, that was a good one. That definitely was a good one. Number 4 was obviously the West Coast show with Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, and Kendrick Lamar, which was 2022. And I'm actually surprised that Kendrick Lamar as a whole wasn't in on that mix. And of course, there's Anderson .Paak in there too. He's not listed in there. Should be listed. I see him sitting right there in the drums. I see it. Number 3, Beyonce. Number 2, U2. And number 1, Prince. Obviously, as Prince fans, we're very, very excited to see Prince at number 1. But guess who's not at number 2? It's not Bad Bunny. So this just kind of goes to show that just because you see something online doesn't mean it's true. That article that someone had posted about Super Bowl halftime show branded worst of the century, that article was released 15 minutes, not even 15 minutes after the halftime show was over. So who branded it the worst one ever within 15 minutes and wrote an article and posted it online within 15 minutes of the end of the halftime show? I'm telling you, it's garbage. You have no idea what is real and what's not. You want an example of something, of an example of real and not real? Here, I'm going to show you a little video clip. This gives me an opportunity to take a drink, but of Crystal Light, by the way. A video of a Asian girl online who, I guess she's doing, she has a filter and the filter comes off, or she forgets to turn on the filter, and you get to see who's really behind that beautiful face. Let's watch this together, just as a little teeny break. Here's a little break for you.
不会跳别的。哎，忘记开美颜了。开一会儿啊，开一会儿。
That gives you an idea. So you're not looking at that girl. The person that is actually behind that graphic is
不会跳别的。哎，忘记开美颜了。
So don't believe what you see online. That's basically what I'm saying. Don't believe what you see online, because whatever it is that you've searched for previously, it's an algorithm. It's going to follow you. It's going to keep on feeding you what you look at regularly. Obviously, the person that sent me that worst show ever looks at that right-wing stuff, listens to people like Sean Hannity and stuff like that. So they're going to see all the negative stuff that's going to be surrounding Bad Bunny. The other folks, you see a different piece of information. So don't believe everything you see online. That's essentially what I was trying to get out. Yes, I did see someone mention the fact that 3 days after Prince's passing is going to be the release of Michael Jackson's new movie, Michael. Let me see if I can say that quick. That's really, really cool that this is going to be happening. It has nothing to do with, the placement has nothing to do with Prince's passing. Matter of fact, the movie was supposed to be released at the end of last year, I believe, or I want to say it was the end of last year that was supposed to come out, but they had a bunch of production issues, so they had to keep on pushing it back and pushing it back. This is going to be hitting on April 24th, so I'm pretty excited to see this movie. Obviously, I'm a way bigger Prince fan than I am a Michael Jackson fan, but I love the look of this movie. Everything looks really, really great about it, so I'm pretty excited to. I'm pretty excited to see this. So I'm sure a lot of you folks are too, especially that it's Michael's nephew. And so he's out doing his thing, and he's actually gives a really, really good look. But again, halftime show was phenomenal. And Kid Rock did his own little show, an alternate show called Turning Point USA for the Americans. And which is fine. I just need you guys to understand that just this is the reason why I don't really get into politics, is because I don't want to screw up my algorithm. I see both things because I don't let my algorithm get carried away and learn things about me. I don't want it to learn things about me. So it already knows way too much. Trust me, I've already got so much audio of me, hundreds of hours online, hundreds, if not thousands of hours online of me, probably saying every word in the English language. They could literally make me say anything. So I can, yeah. All right, let's shift back into the purple news. Okay. Since we're talking about the Super Bowl, this is a pretty good segue. Maybe you missed it. Maybe you didn't. A lot of really cool Super Bowl commercials, but one commercial that definitely got Prince fans' attention is a movie called Project Hail Mary that had a snippet of I Would Die for You in it. And essentially, the movie is something is going to happen out in space that I don't know if it's an asteroid or something is going to be hitting the Earth or something. I don't know what the premise of it is. I just know the Earth's about to be destroyed and that they're sending this one lone person out to go and try to handle the situation. But didn't Bruce Willis already do this? They kind of say the one lone person out to kind of handle it, kind of along the lines of an Armageddon type of storyline. However, in this particular case, our person in the lead actually comes in contact with an alien that looks like a rock, I guess. But pay attention to the music. Here's a little clip. I took the 2-minute clip that they did, and I just took out the part that matters to you. All right, let's check this out together. This is from Project Hail Mary, and hopefully Facebook won't kick us off. I'm hoping. Let's just see.
I'm Grace. I'm going to call you Rocky. We're here for the same reason. His son is dying too.
I want to say this one more time. Listen to the music, okay? This is important. I don't want you to miss it because I want you to get caught up in the visuals. Listen to the music. I'll start again. My bad. I just want to make sure you guys are listening, not just watching, but more important, listening. All right.
I'm Grace. I'm going to call you Rocky. We're here for the same reason. His son is dying too. If we're going to save our planet, we have to learn how to communicate. Check this out.
There are infinite possibilities for this to go wrong.
This ship wasn't built for this. Now!
All right. So I had to cut it there because I'm running on a line of going to kick Facebook off again. Facebook is really, really particular. If anybody's happens to get kicked off Facebook, let me know. And I'll restart Facebook, which will suck, but that's okay. I'm excited about this, but I'm starting to get, it's cool. I don't typically go see movies because there's a Prince song in it. I mean, I think that's cool. I think it's great. And of course I'll go see it, not because there's a Prince song in it, but because I love big movies. I love movies in space. I love movies like Lord of the Rings. And when I do see stuff like that, I do like to see them on IMAX. So like, for instance, the last one I saw Tron on IMAX. I saw the Predator movie on IMAX. I know it's a little bit extra, but I don't care because I want to be enveloped with the sound and 3D and the whole thing and really just experience a movie for what it is. So I like big movies like that. I also like destruction movies. I don't know if that says anything about me, but I also like movies where, you know, floods and disasters and tsunamis and stuff like that is just like 2012 or whatever that movie was. I love movies like that. It's just fascinating to kind of watch how they do it. Anyways, this is going to be exciting. Great movie. It's going to be it's Project Hail Mary, and it's coming out. I didn't see when it was coming out, but I'm excited. Whenever it comes out, I'll go watch it, and we'll take it from there. Which is going to segue into the big piece of thing that we're going to talk about. I wanted to talk about this because it's a pretty big topic, and it's also why I was kind of a little bit relieved. Not relieved. I was very much looking forward to having Cassandra O'Neill on the show tonight. I mean, I've always appreciated her. I think she's a phenomenal keyboardist. She has such a great story, and I cannot wait to interview her. But I knew that you guys were going to want me to talk about this latest news of what happened to the new power generation, and it really caused a big kerfuffle. Yes, I said kerfuffle. And I wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to talk about it tonight, but I was going to try to figure out a way to work it in with Cassandra. And what I was going to do is actually have her kind of weigh in on it to kind of, talk about her thoughts on it. But because it got moved and Michael had that last minute rehearsal, it's all good. Let's try to paint some context. In first, for those new folks, and also for some of us old school heads that are kind of still trying to figure out exactly how this friggin' Prince estate is structured. Let me kind of explain it in as best way as I possibly can. Since 2022, the Prince estate has been controlled evenly by two companies: Prince Legacy LLC, which is owned by three of Prince's half siblings, like Sharon and them, alongside advisors Londell McMillan and Charles Spicer. That's one half of it. The other half is Prince Oat Holdings LLC, and that is the music publishing side of things, which includes the publishing firm Primary Wave, primarily Primary Wave, and they also acquired all the interest to Prince's other half siblings, who sold their shares to Primary Wave for a very, very pretty penny. I might add. I don't know exactly what that penny is, but I guarantee you it was up there. And so that's how it stands right now. There is another piece of this puzzle, and that is a organization called Global Music Rights, and they own, or GMR, and they control the music. Like, for instance, that movie, that clip that you heard in that movie, that was GMR, and was Primary Wave and GMR that got that in there. That there's these different, anything that has to do with the music being included in things, that is that portion of it. Now, not to say that the other half of the estate doesn't have any say. They do, but ultimately Primary Wave and GMR are the ones that hold that music licensing rights part of it. And so that's kind of where this kind of comes a little bit unraveled. So to get on track, the new power generation, as we know them, which is they're a ever-changing lineup of sorts. You know, you have sometimes Levi will be in the mix. Tony M's typically always in the mix. You just have Sonny's typically in the mix. You will have different people that will be in the mix at different times depending on their availability. But for the most part, MPG as a whole, it changes ever so slightly from show to show, but it's okay. But they have just been impacted with some new restrictions just recently, not only about their ability to use the name New Power Generation, but also what they can play of Prince's music. Not specific songs, but excessiveness of sorts. So you can't do a whole, we'll talk about that in a second. First off, let me just I want to give a shout out. Thank you to Funkenberry Jeremiah for sending that link to me on my cell, kind of letting me know about this breaking news. He wanted to make sure that I got it out there. And so I all of you beautiful people out there are my eyes and ears. I literally cannot be everywhere all at once. So if you hear some Prince news or you see something and you think, I don't see anybody talking about this, please let me know. Please reach out to me. I'm pretty responsive on Facebook Messenger. You can also send stuff to me to funkatopia@gmail.com. FUNKATOPIA@gmail.com. Make sure you leave that A in there. A lot of times when Prince tweeted about me, he got the links right. So he would send people to the right place, but he would always go Funktopia. He would always leave the A out. It's okay. It's all right. I think George Clinton just did that to me too. George Clinton just did a bumper for us for the show, and he did the same thing, Funktopia. It's okay. It's all right. I'm fine. Anyways, again, Jeremiah, I appreciate you. Also, anyone here listening, please help. Since we're talking about Jeremiah Funkenberry, please help if you can. He is still in a battle with cancer. It is not resolved by a long shot. A lot of complications, a lot of things going on. I did set up a short link at funkatopia.com/Dr. Funk, DRFUNK. Don't put a dot in there. DRFUNK. So funkatopia.com/Dr. Funk will take you right to his GoFundMe page and help out in any way you can. Little, small, big, it doesn't matter. Try to help because, he's part of the Purple family. And I mean, let's just face it. In the final years of Prince's life, if it wasn't for Funkenberry, you guys wouldn't even know where Prince was playing. Some of his band members didn't even know where they were playing next and would have to go to Funkenberry's page to see where they were going to get on the plane and go to play. And they're in the band. So help out Funkenberry if you can. Funkatopia.com/Dr. Funk. It's a big battle. It's a battle for his life. And can't wait. Hope to see you back behind the camera soon, my friend. I really do. So go and try to help there if you can. All right. And get that out of the way. Not that it deserves to be pushed to the side. Should always stay front and center, but we're in a conversation here. So this article dropped. And, again, MPG, Prince's backing band. From, I want to say, I guess it started on paper, New Power Generation. Started on paper in 1990, I want to say. I could have sworn, and somebody in the chat room tell me if I'm losing my mind or not. I could have sworn that I saw New Power Generation plastered somewhere before 1990. I don't know if it was the Love Sexy tour or something right after it. And it was on a side of a stage somewhere. It said New Power Generation. I don't know if he had attached it as the band's name or not. It's like something similar to 1999, because a lot of people say, oh, Prince and the Revolution wasn't until Purple Rain. It's not true. It was 1999, because if you look inside of the 9, it says, or inside of the I, it says, and the Revolution. It says it backwards, but he never really officially called the band that, even though it's there backwards. And I think New Power Generation was the same. I could have sworn that I saw it somewhere before 1990. Anyways, sorry, rabbit hole. On paper, 1990 was when New Power Generation became a name. It got attached to a band. And then it stayed that way until 2013, because then after that, he was either just Prince or he was a member of Third Eye Girl. Prince, as far as like Artificial Age and stuff like that. It was just Prince, Artificial Age. So from 1990 to 2013, the band was called New Power Generation. And the news that broke is that they took away New Power Generation's ability to use that trademark name. They had a contract of sorts, or an agreement of sorts with Global Music Rights that expired. And it didn't just expire recently. This is not news, but because I think it was a 5-year deal. It happened in 2017 and it expired in 2022. And if you guys remember, if you were following along, a lot of you were not, a majority of you were not, even though you say, I was there, I saw it. I get it. But New Power Generation changed their Facebook name to We Were the New Power Generation. Remember when that happened? Because the contract expired. They weren't able to use it. And you know it's funny is I asked, Morris Hayes was on the show. We're going to talk about this. I'm going down another rabbit hole. Sorry, that's just what I do. For those that have been a fan of my show for years, you you come to appreciate the rabbit holes for what they are. It's just like, hey, let's go on a journey together, regardless of how dark or silly it is. But in this particular case, it's relative because Morris Hayes was on the show, and I did ask him about new power generation. I said, can't use a name anymore. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? I'll try to find a clip and try to make a reel of it. But he flat out said, you know what? I'm fine with it. If we can't use a name, it's all good. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the estate and thank the powers that be for allowing us to use it for this period of time. It's been a blessing. It's given us an opportunity to be able to continue to celebrate Prince using a name that he came up with. And it's been great. It's been a great run. And that's been Morris's approach flat out. Not everybody feels that way. I'm not talking about the band internally. Maybe not. I don't know. All I can say is that the contract ended with Global Music Rights, and the Global Music Rights organization, they basically handle the administration of Prince's songs. Matter of fact, for those who are a fan of his music, please make sure that you download the Funkatopia app. It's called Funked Up, Funkedup. You can download it on Apple. You can download it for Android. We are licensed through Global Music Rights. Every month, I have to send Global Music Rights a list of the songs that I played on the radio station that were Prince's, and I have to pay. It's both ASCAP license and Global Music Rights license and that probably was, let's just say we do our best to stay legal. That's essentially what you got to do. But Global Music Rights pretty much owns every Prince song that's out there. And so if you're planning on playing any of Prince's music anywhere, you got to deal with Global Music Rights. It don't matter what it is. If you're a radio station and you're playing it like we do on our thing, you got to pay them. And I had to sign a contract. I had to go through the whole process, and I have to do monthly reporting to Global Music Rights. So I can tell you this is a thing, and it's real, and they're pretty active. All right. Now, even though New Power Generation, we're not going to talk about the songs just yet, but even though New Power Generation is technically a legacy band, just kind of like the Revolution was, and technically like Third Eye Girl was. I mean, technically Third Eye Girl could still pre-exist without Prince, but that's even, I would love to see some of their stuff, because some of the stuff that those girls did was amazing. Donna Grantist and Ida and Hannah, they're beast. They're beast. They're phenomenal. Doesn't matter. I couldn't do that rabbit hole. But MPG was kind of doing like being a tribute band of sorts. And obviously, if they're playing somewhere, the big draw is you're like New Power Generation. You see all these original members of all these people that used to play with Prince. I mean, following Prince's death in 2016, NPG got the 5-year license to continue using the name. And I think the powers that be at that time were Bremer Bank, or however you pronounce it, BREMER, Bremer Bank. And they were the ones who initially handled the Prince estate. So that contract was locked in. And then when the contract expired, it was underneath Comerica. And Comerica then managed the estate. And the current administrators also as well. But the new estate owners also conveyed to the band that the estate would no longer be licensing the trademark name once the current agreement's term expired. And that term has expired. So whether or not who pulled the trigger on that side that kind of stopped New Power Generation from being able to use that name anymore, whether that was the Londell and Charles side of things, or whether that was the Global Music Rights / Primary Wave that's unknown. It's unknown. I really honestly don't. I would assume that it's the Londell Charles side, because the other side of it on the primary wave side has to do with the music part of this new limitation / restriction that was imposed on new power generation that we're going to talk about here in a second. So again, once the contract expired in 2022, MPG stopped using the name. They changed it. Remember, as I said, they changed it to "We were the new power generation" on some of their socials like Facebook. And then when they started performing, they would normally bill themselves as like the music of Prince is what it would say. The music of Prince featuring former members of the new power generation. That was safe. There was nothing there that could go wrong. That was safe. That's fine. I didn't have a problem with it. But they were allowed to call themselves New Power Generation if they were doing something with the estate. Let's just say they were performing at the celebration. Then they can call themselves New Power Generation. If they were performing at halftime at a Minnesota Timberwolves game, they were allowed to use the name there. So anything that the estate had control of and wanted to utilize them, it's okay because it's their trademark. They can do that, and it's an opportunity for them to kind of get back out there, and so they can still do that. But regarding the name change, there was a quote in Billboard magazine from Morris Hayes, and they were trying to figure out, what are we going to change the name to? What do we change the name to? It's going to be kind of tricky because we were the new power generation. We want to be able to communicate that. But his quote was, "Considering what we call ourselves that connects us to Prince, the city and the sound that he and others created in the 80s is what they wanted to do most of all." He said, "Our manager had been swirling this name around off and on for a couple of years, and we all came together on it in the end. We knew we wanted something that perfectly describes our sound and who and what we are. We are a definite part of the musical tapestry created by Prince, and we want to be a part of the soul of the sound of the Twin Cities." So they decided to go with Minneapolis Sound All-Star Band. And of course, you can actually see the subtitle there, featuring former members of the new power generation and other world-class musicians from the Purple Collective. And of course, there's a little header down there, a little subheader that says, "The Minneapolis Sound is our foundation. It's a vibe. It's a legacy. We honor its history and are proud to be a part of it." So they don't even mention Prince's name in this mix. So the only thing that they can do is to indicate that they were former members of the new power generation. That's a little loophole that they can actually get into. I just, that's it. Minneapolis Sound All-Star Band featuring former members of the new power generation and other world-class musicians from the Purple Collective. I don't know that they'll keep that second tagline, but definitely featuring, I mean, maybe they do. Depends on who's in the band for this particular iteration or when they go on tour, what they start doing again. So that is the band. And matter of fact, if you want to start following them and find out about any shows that they do, you can go to facebook.com/that name. So facebook.com/Minneapolis Sound All-Star Band. I'll leave it up here and give you guys an opportunity to be able to write it down, or take a picture of it with your phone and go visit it later. Because if you are an NPG fan, this is now the name of the band that you're going to have to keep up with. There it is. And doesn't flow off the tongue. But it definitely does accomplish what they wanted to, which is to kind of really communicate exactly what they want. And let's just face it. I mean, this band name battle has been going on for a little bit of time. Even before Prince left us, this has been going on. So this is not just an estate thing. This is before an estate existed. Lisa, I'm going to get to your question. So when Prince was with us, we had the issue with the time, because a lot of people lose sight of this. that Vanity 6, Apollonia 6, The Family, The Time, New Power Generation, these were all Prince's projects. These were alter egos. These were various forms of his identity, of who he was. These were his projects. So when Morris Day and The Time decided that they were going to do this brand new Time album with no input from Prince, Prince was like, you can't do that. You can't call yourself The Time, because The Time is me. And this is when Prince was with us. The Time is me. So you're going to have to call yourself something else if I'm not going to be able to be involved at all. You're not going to let me contribute any songs. You're not going to let me write with you, co-write. You're not going to let me produce the album. You want it to be your thing so that you can show what you can do. That's cool, but you can't call yourself The Time, because The Time is me. And that's not what you're doing, is not going to be The Time, because I'm not there. So they had to rename themselves. Obviously, as we remember, they had to rename themselves the Original Seven. And that was problematic in itself. So, and if you happen to be lucky enough to get that album from the Original Seven called Condensate, which I have, it's over there. There is a DVD in that mix, and that DVD actually shows all of the members of The Time sitting at a table, and it gets to a point in the discussion where they're talking about the fact that they weren't able to use The Time, and you can see everybody at the table trying to kind of keep Morris in check, because Morris was feeling some sort of way about it, and you could tell that it was something that really bothered him and upset him. And he was about to kind of go into it on the DVD, and everybody was like, just, that's where it is. That's where it is. That's what we got to do. So this whole band name thing was happening while Prince was with us. And now, of course, the past months we've had the issue with Apollonia. It's the same exact thing, but Apollonia was taking it because of the fact that, I still honestly don't really fully comprehend the estate's stranglehold on the name Apollonia, because it is her name. It is, so that it's one thing if she's touring using the name Apollonia 6. And on top of that, the name Apollonia was already in The Godfather, right? So, I mean, it's a whole thing. But the estate, as far in relation to Apollonia, has always said, we're not going to stop you from making money and saying that you can still say who you are, and we're not going to make you stop using your name. So, well, we'll just see, because obviously this is still a case. I did, just so you know, not for this show. But when we originally talked about Apollonia a few shows ago, I actually did reach out to her, and she said she would like to come on the show, but she can't right now because of the legal stuff that they're dealing with. So, I think it sucks. But the other part of that too, matter of fact, I'm seeing Klaus has made a comment here. Apollonia is really not really doing much with it anyways, as it stands. I mean, she still has her appearance on socials, and she's still present on socials, and she has her podcast, but she's not touring. So I don't really see it as anything. Nothing that she's doing is causing any type of monetary detriment to the estate or affecting the estate in that way. And that's kind of where the second part of this comes in, that even upset people more. That's going to kind of feed into what you said, Lisa, which the other part of this is that Oh, let me finish the band thing first. The Revolution only toured once posthumously. It was kind of separated up there for a little bit. So technically it may have been twice, I don't, depending on how you look at it. But they kind of, I guess, a little bit to their advantage. Things at that point were kind of a little bit still in disarray, inadvertently or not. So I would imagine they'd have had asked someone if it was okay. Hey, can we go on road to tour as the Revolution? Before they made the announcement that they were going to be touring and doing that, when they all ran in and sat on the couch and said, "Hey, we're the Revolution. We're going to be touring." They did that, but then it's over. It's done. They did it. It's over. They're not doing it anymore. New Power Generation continued to do it. The family was another issue. The family couldn't call themselves the family. They had to change their name to F Deluxe. Vanity 6 and Apollonia 6, as we mentioned, they were really toured, but then you also have other offshoots too. Madhouse, Jill Jones. Jill Jones, actually, that's her name. So they can't really, but she wrote all that, he wrote that with her. So she can still do whatever she's going to do. Anyways. All right, let's get into the song part of it. As for the music, the MPG's manager, Jill Willis, made a comment in Billboard, kind of speaking a little bit to it. She kind of shared some of the details about what else, not only the band name that can't be used anymore, but they can play a handful of Prince songs during their shows, as long as Prince or Prince's music is not the focus of the show. So the shows that they used to do previously, where it would be front to back, all Prince music, you can't do that anymore. They're not allowed to do that anymore because there's like a bunch of different rules and stuff that kind of go into place in regards to doing that. And I don't know, it's going to have a ripple effect across the universe. It's going to have a ripple effect. To Lisa's question, Lisa LaBeouf, she asked the question, does this affect tribute bands? Yeah, I will. If it's affecting the New Power Generation, it will affect tribute bands as well. And anybody want to ramble off some tribute bands that you guys know of? Purple Rain, REIGN, Purple Experience. Gosh, there's so many about that. You guys probably know of a bunch of them. Go ahead in the chat room, start naming off some of the Prince cover bands that you are aware of, or Prince tribute bands, whatever you want to call them. They're going to be affected because you are not allowed to go on stage and perform a show in its entirety, all Prince. You can't do it. And you can't say the music of Prince. Can't do it. You can't make it so that it is the total 100% sole focus is that. And that's what New Power Generation was doing. Front to back, every single song. And what the tribute shows were doing. Front to back, all Prince's music. Matter of fact, unless the estate or something ordains it, unless they say, that's okay. It's all right. It's all good. You can do that. But I honestly don't know what to think about that particular part of it, or I'm really kind of curious to really be totally honest to kind of see how this shakes out. Not just shakes out for what's going to happen with a New Power Generation, which I might add, I'm a little bit excited about. I'm excited about because I have heard smatterings of some of the original material that New Power Generation has created. What was the name of that song? They've played a song or two live that they've written as a band that was phenomenal. And at one point in time, if I remember correctly from what Tony M told me, they were in the process of trying to put together an album. And that's what's happening now, is that they are focusing on some of their original material. And then what will happen is that if you see the name of this band, if you see the Minneapolis Sound All-Star Band coming to your town, you are going to be seeing a handful of Prince songs and originals from all the members. This is okay. Nadine, thank you for this. Nadine actually sent a she has it in quotes, so it seems official. So I'm going to read it. Nadine River says, for the record, tribute bands can legally perform cover songs of an artist's material under specific conditions, primarily through venue licensings for public performances. They don't typically pay direct licensing fees themselves. Instead, venues purchase blanket licenses for performance rights organizations like ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, which cover the royalties owed to songwriters and publishers. Yes, that is true. In a normal scenario, matter of fact, if you are in a cover band, you can, let's just say you're in a cover band and you play Southern rock. You're not specifically playing Allman Brothers. You're not specifically playing Leonard Skinner. You're playing all Southern rock. You're playing Blackberry Smoke. You're playing a bunch of different stuff. You're playing Skinner, whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter because the venue, typically restaurants and bars are supposed to do this too. The venue pays a blanket license to those licensing agencies who then get they're supposed to cover music so that if a band comes in there and they play a certain song, the band's covered under the blanket license for that venue or for that restaurant or for that bar. But this is kind of going in a little bit different of a direction because it's specifically saying you can't do. I don't know exactly how this reads, and I don't know exactly how this is being enforced or whatever, because does this just apply to Prince's stuff? Is this just something specific that the estate is doing? Because what about Michael Jackson tribute bands? What about all these other tribute bands that are out there? There are Def Leppard tribute bands. There are Led Zeppelin tribute bands. There are Pink Floyd tribute bands. There are tribute bands across the market that cover solely one artist's material. So is this new implementation a Prince specific thing? If it is, that's kind of curious. Now, are you trying to get a control on things and trying to make sure that every single time that a song is played, that it is that the artist gets paid? I mean, that's what the licensing is for. And it seems like, I'm not going to divulge to this person's name, but I did reach out to this person. I do know someone who plays in a tribute band. I won't say if it's Prince or not. Who said that they had some sort of agreement that they could continue doing what they were doing. They never called themselves anything specific that would allude to the artist, but their entire show was based on one sole artist, and they had already worked out an issue with the estate. So I guess I might as well say that it was a Prince related thing, but they didn't. So I was under the impression that they, were able to sit down at a table and work something out. But was that a part of? I just don't know. So there's a bunch of things that are coming down the pike, and let's just say some people are going to be happy about it. Some people are not going to be happy about it. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this all takes shape. But you know what? It's okay, because there are some things that we still got coming up that we can still enjoy as Prince fans. So let's do that and just kind of not focus on some of the negative things, because we don't really know exactly how this is all going to shake out, or how it's exactly going to be enforced, or what's going to be coming down the wire, or if something changes and then they allow some of this stuff to go on. I don't know. For right now, here's what I can tell you. April 20th, we have something really, really cool that you can take place in. That's Urban Classic. Again, Urban Classic with Michael Bland and Tommy Barbarella, G Sharp, JB, Ash Mash, Odell. It's going to be a great show. April 20th, the night before his passing, the 10-year anniversary of his passing. We're going to be at Dakota. Yes, I will be there too. I will be emceeing, and I may do a little bit more. I don't know. It's all good, but we're going to be doing this. And special guest Liv Warfield is going to be there also. So we're all going to be there on April 20th in Minneapolis at the Dakota. You can get tickets to this, dakotacooks.com. If there's any tickets available, I don't know. There's 2 shows, 6:30 and 8:30. And then on top of that, the following night, or actually not the following night, right after this show on April 20th, 8:30, we'll be getting in our cars and we're driving down to Chanhassen to Riley Creek. And we'll be having a candlelight service at Riley Creek at 12:01 a.m. on the 21st, because we do not want to, while we could do it at a regular normal time for normal folks on the evening of the 21st, we don't know what's happening, but we do know there's something in the mix. Something's going to be happening on the 21st. We don't have an idea what it is. As far as I know, there are some other things going on in the town too that I don't have the details for. But come join us April 20th at the Dakota. Michael Bland and myself will be there. Liv Warfield's going to be there. Tommy Barbarella is going to be there. We're going to have a good time, and they're going to be celebrating the life and legacy of Prince. But it won't be. We're going to have to get creative, I guess. We'll figure those things out for sure. And then, of course, at 12:01 a.m. that same night, going into April 21st, which will be the officially 10-year anniversary of his passing, we will be at Riley Creek with a candlelight ceremony. And so we'll be there for that. And then, of course, what you guys probably came here tonight for, next Tuesday, we will have Cassandra O'Neill will be here. Michael Bland will be back. Again, he got called away for a last-minute rehearsal, so he had to go in and do that. And as a result, Cassandra decided to move her appearance to next Tuesday so that they could kind of geek out on MPG things and we could have a little bit of a party. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a really, really fun show. But I hope that I was able to at least fill in the time tonight. Almost made up 2 hours, but at least fill in the time tonight with a little bit of news, a little bit of fun. And I have one more clip that I'm going to share with you. And it is an artist named Shoji. And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it made me laugh when I saw it. And he is an artist, and he essentially goes around and films pieces of trash that are floating or moving or whatever. And then he gets in outfits and he reenacts the trash. I don't know how else to explain it. So watch it. We're going to watch it together. Here it is. This is trash artist Shoji Yamasaki. And this will be our little fun clip for the night. So I'm sorry. Second I saw it and I realized what I watching. I tried to figure out what I was watching. I was like, I don't know if that is a madman or just like borderline brilliant. It's just ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But so hope that made you laugh. Again, please make sure that you tune in next week for Cassandra O'Neill and Michael Bland. Michael will be back and we're going to hang out together and have a good time. Obviously, please make sure that you help support Funkatopia in any way you possibly can as well. You can join us at patreon.com/Funkatopia. That's patreon.com/Funkatopia. It's nothing but a good time over there in Patreon world. We appreciate all the support you possibly can give. That would be great. And of course, if you have love for Funkenberry and his contributions, please make sure you also go to funkatopia.com/Dr. Funk, DRFUNK, and help contribute to his GoFundMe scenario so that he can continue fighting a good fight and battling this cancer and coming out the other side so we can get him back online, so we can get him back on the radio, or get him. We just need it. We need it back. We need as much information as possible. We got to keep it coming. Keep it coming. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. We'll see you next week. I'm Mr. Christopher, and I might pop in tomorrow and hang out with you guys for another incense burning session of listening to stuff. For those who don't know, just stay tuned. Like, follow. Be sure to do that. I should have had that like, follow thing going the whole time. Like, follow. Click, 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 like, and follow, and you'll get an alert if I happen to pop up. It's called a hit and run. I come, I play some music, and leave. That sounded awful. Good night, everyone. Hope you had a good time. See ya.